folks, and welcome to our final episode for 2024. We are in the second week of Pinal Prep Spotlight. Last week we talked about kind of our predictions somewhat for girls basketball. This week we're going to be talking about the boys. As always, our show is brought to you by 911 Air Repair, your local air conditioning expert specializing in maintenance, repair, and new installations. David, what do you have your eye on for the rest of the season when it comes to boys basketball here in Pinal County?
Yeah, so far I kind of have two teams, and it's ironically the two teams that I saw recently play against each other, and it's Florence and ALA Ironwood. I think those are kind of the two standard-bearer teams that we're going to see this year. A lot like the girls, there's going to be some question marks with the boys this year. We've had a lot of transitions, a lot of transfers, and a lot of guys that are now seniors that have graduated from the past season that may hinder these teams a little bit in their strength. But ALA Ironwood is still a very strong team despite losing four starting seniors from their roster last year. The one returning starter is Noah Atkins, who will now be a senior. He was a mid-season transfer for them last year, set out for half the year, but now he gets his first full year with the team. And he is an amazing shooter. He is a good facilitator. He is the perfect guy you want to have leading the point for this team. But it's just going to be the guys that step up, and there's going to be a lot of guys that need to kind of fill those roles that have been with the team recently, but have not had an open path to the starting job. And I think a guy like Blake Anderson is going to be someone that we have to look out for this team. And it just depends on what they can do. And the biggest thing for them is that there's a region shakeup this year too. They are not facing a murderer's row that they did last year. They still have some tough teams, but teams like Valley Christian and Florence that they just played against aren't going to be in their region anymore. So it's going to be an interesting kind of path forward on where they can go and how do they stack up with their new region mates. And then on the Florence side, this is kind of the year. This kind of has to be the year for them. They have, when we talked about a senior-heavy team, they're as senior-heavy as it gets. They have a lot of experienced talent that has to be the year for them to actually move forward. Guys like Logan Stenson, Adrian Talfasau are going to be huge pieces for them moving forward. I think they have to kind of, instill that this is the team that they have to use to go all the way, because it's been a little bit of tough sledding once they get to playoff format, and it's the same problem that a lot of our teams run into. They can face tough competition sometimes in the regular season, but then when they get to the true top dogs in their conference, it's a little bit more of an issue. So those are the two teams I kind of look out for. The rest are kind of just going to be question marks on who's going to be the guys we have to look out for. I think Casa Grande could make some noise this year if things go right for them, but it just depends on what the makeup of the teams are and who can perform when it matters.
So David kind of touched on this. Our 3A conference teams kind of broke up. ALA Ironwood, Santan Foothills, they are no longer in the same region as Florence and Coolidge. Instead now they're kind of divided half and half. And we also have the addition of Apache Junction going down to 3A. But talking about another team we kind of always talk about because they just find a way to make things happen regardless of who's on the roster, whether they have sides or not. They have playmakers, and they find an ability to get things done. And we are talking about Coolidge. Dave Glasgow is the mastermind who kind of puppeteers everything behind the scenes, and he does a fantastic job. This year, I don't think it's going to be any different, although this Coolidge team is very, very young. They have a handful of freshmen who are really talented, but Coach Glasgow says he hopes they don't really have to rely on them all too much just yet. Just let them get kind of accustomed to varsity play, and then in the later on years, see what they can really do and how much they can shine. But right now, they are led by junior guard Tori Golston. Golston was kind of the motor that took over for them last year, along with Jaquan Jordan, who is now at CAC. So this is Golston's team this season. It is for him to lead and carry and just do whatever he can to propel this Bears team into the postseason and hopefully make that D playoff run that they are most known for. Also got to talk about junior transfer in Corbin Downs. He is coming over from Vista Grande. He helps Coolidge kind of spread out the floor and take some of that pressure off Golston. It's going to be fun to see how these two can kind of play off of each other and just overall see what the Bears can do this season. Surprise team for me this year so far is Vista Grande. Vista Grande is under new head coach Jacob Montano. So far they are 4-3 4-3 this season going into the winter break, and 4-3 is a big deal because all last year Vista Grande only had four regular season wins the entire season. So they've already matched that mark, and hey, they still have pretty much half the season left, starting in January, and we'll just have to wait and see what this Spartans team can do. They are moving up to 5A this year, so also new coach, new competition, a lot to be excited about. And then just wrapping things up, we have to talk about Combs. Combs was kind of our unicorn last year. Surprised a lot of people. They had a lot to fight for with everything that happened behind the scenes at the high school and everything. And this year, hey, head coach Hosea Graham, he's ready for this Combs team to make some noise. They made the first round of the state playoffs last year. They are looking to get back. And they are currently led by a junior in Quinn Metris Cunningham. He is averaging 14.6 points, almost 10 rebounds a game. Overall, I think we have a lot of surprising teams at the moment, and just like David said, we are going to have to wait and see how things turn up in January. Once the break is over, once all these tournaments are done, just can these guys focus on the task at hand and making that playoff appearance, which is what all of these teams are kind of vying for. Overall, David, anything else you want to add?
No, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head here. Like you said, it's going to be a lot of teams that are going to have to find their new way and find ways to rely on new guys, and it's just going to come down to who we're going to have to talk about at the end of the year. I think we still have a lot of solid teams, most of them being in 3A. It just depends on where they kind of stack up towards the end of the year and what goes right for them.
Also got to mention, hey, there is going to be a new quote-unquote open tournament for 3A, 1A to 3A. So, hey, some of these teams, while they might be a little flying a bit under the radar, they might be able to sneak into with this open format. We saw this happen in football, and hey, overall, I think it's a good thing just having all these conferences come together and having these different powerhouses compete against each other because, hey, we know Valley Christian is a pain in all of our Pinal County teams' sides. So, hey, if they are out of the equation, that leaves the door open for a lot of our Pinal County teams, especially in the 3A conference. As always, check out Pinal Central for all of your local sports coverage, and tune back in January when we get back to our regular schedule of breaking down our games of the week.